Hello everyone, Scott here. Welcome back to Hyperbole. I know it's Hyperbole, but Hyperbole makes it mine. I just got out of the Pineville Heist about 2 hours ago. What is the Pineville Heist? You're probably wondering that. Aside from Lee, hi. The Pineville Heist is a homegrown movie, passion project of Lee Chambers for the past 8 years. He's a cool guy. I met him tonight. So here's the story. Pineville Heist is a movie that he's been trying to make for 8 years. He made it, and it got shown in Cineplex April 6th. And I learned about it through someone at work who was like, hey, you going to see it? I'm like, see what? The movie shot here. What movie shot here? And I got interested immediately. But it was too late to make it to that. So thanks to demand, it's back tonight, April 25th. One showing, special screening. And because of its success and the showing he had in LA, it's actually going to be in Toronto as well. And he's going to Cannes as well. And it's pretty awesome. Talked to him a little bit, walked up and just said, because I liked it on Facebook and have been sharing that I'm going, excuse me, and going, and a few friends came along too. It was like, I saw him there putting up the posters and stuff and went, so how are you connected to the movie? He goes, I'm the writer-director. I'm like, oh, nice to meet you, Scott Somerton. He goes, oh, I remember your post. So here's something really cool. I'm from the class of '02, Confederation College Film Program. When I was there, Dennis Austin, my main professor, and the others, Greg Stanton, James Eastwood, Eric Weller, Don DeLorme, they all vouch for this. When you meet another Con College person from the film program, excuse me, there's kind of a, hey, kind of automatic awesomeness reaction. And he did that. It was this like, here I am, I go, Confederation College, you're part of the college, right? Yeah? Class of '02. He's like, hey, nice to meet you. What you been working on? Sore point. But that's the thing. In 16 years, sorry, I'm still coughing. I just finished having dinner after getting home. After 16 years, I don't have much that I have worked on. But you all know GPC, and for those who don't, again, highly, I'm posting this so you can see it. Web show that's been going for 4 years, ongoing stuff, and that movie idea that's there. And this thing has been weirdly inspiring, just like Gladiator. That's a story. We'll get to that. But this movie's been his 8-year passion project. It was shot here in Thunder Bay, as well as parts of Australia. I believe it was as well. Some pickup stuff was done there too. The cast had Australians in it, which no accents, but what? And overall, it's a simple heist movie. It's Pineville Heist, and yet it's kind of an action thriller on top of that. Now, full disclosure, as you can probably already tell, I don't normally cut in these, but I started to cough really hard there. I'm going to be incredibly biased here. Because it's a Con College movie. Not really, but is. This is his own movie with no government funding, no grants, no nothing. It's all his own. About $100,000 overall budget. And I talked to him before going in. He said he tried to make it where it was, every dollar felt like 10. To make it feel like $1 million movie. He did radio interviews in LA and people thought he was lying about that, considering they thought it was a studio film. So, okay, I'm really intrigued for what we have here. And totally 100% biased. It's Thunder Bay local, all that good stuff. But would I normally go see it? I don't know. I watched the trailer and went, okay, interesting, cool. It's basically a small town, USA. He had a cool story about that. You got to sell to the audience. So it's not a Canadian fit movie. It's actually like Jersey. But that's because you sell for the market where it exists. And it's a small town. This kid hears about a bank robbery that's happening, and people get involved. I don't want to say anything more than that, because that does actually start spoiling it. I'm wolf copping this. You got to go see this to actually know. It is coming to Netflix, it is coming to VOD, it is coming to DVD and Blu-ray, but it's doing the actual theatricals first. Not why, but if you put the demand in, it's going to go. It's going to Toronto, thanks to the amount of demand they've had here. Like I said, he's going to Cannes as well. So it's pretty cool seeing that success. And the overall movie itself, it looks great. Like the visuals, the crane shots at the beginning are really cool. Seeing Thunder Bay on the big screen in a real movie, that's awesome. That's really, really cool. The cast, I find hit or miss. And I am going to be honest on this. I'm going to be brutal about it. Because I am, again, biased, but I also had high hopes and expectations. And they're not let down. Like, let's just get this right out of the gate. I absolutely recommend checking this movie out. Again, I'm a guy in Thunder Bay seeing a college person make thing on the screen. So there's that. But also, it's kind of unique. I haven't seen a movie quite like that. I'm sure people have, but I don't normally go to these kinds, so fair enough, right? But the main guy, the main kid, there was parts with him where it just felt like he was disinterested. I don't know what the performance aspect of that was. I don't know. It's hard to knock something when I literally talked to the director and how much he went through it, and then to see it like, that's what we went with? Forgive me. I mean, it is fair review. It is a positive review overall, let's say that. I don't give scores, by the way. But something about the way his intonations were was just a little off. Like, I left it right here. Little things like that. It seemed weird, or he seemed disinterested. Part of this, the emoting, felt a bit off. It didn't feel as in the moment as it should, considering he's being chased by a person with a gun. It didn't ring true, didn't feel real. But at the same time, there's a moment at the end when it's like, it's not. Oh, that was good. Where was that the rest of the movie? Like we got it where it counted, but it wasn't really there otherwise. There's the sheriff, who I feel kind of steals everything. I don't think he's supposed to be quite as what he is, and yet he is totally that. So he was great. I really liked him in it, actually. He didn't really have an intimidating stature, considering he's a guy of the law. But at the same time, that kind of worked, because he's a guy. Here he comes, and he's doing his thing, so that was good. The deputy sheriff type guy, really liked him. He was fun. He wasn't in it enough, I felt, though, but that's part of the plot, so there you go. And the girl, the teacher, really liked her too. Really can't complain anything about her. She was a lot of fun, believable. But there was something we were talking about afterwards, how the kid was dictating what was going to be happening, and she's going along with it. And yet, she's the adult, she's the teacher, and he likes her, so he would defer to her. And yet, she's letting him just do whatever and take charge and such. At the same time, there's elements of the plot that might explain that away, and I'm okay with that. But in the moment, it was like, what? That felt a bit odd. There's really no other people in the cast. There's the friend who's kind of in it a little bit. He's good. He's fine. And the principal, who kind of had that look of like, oh, I've seen this guy before, but I've never seen this guy before. But he had that kind of thing. They all really made this thing ring true of what it is. I do like that aspect of it. It worked well for that. As far as for like the performances, they are what they were. Like I said, the main guy, I wasn't buying in. I hate that. I wasn't buying in. The direction itself was great, and I like that. There's something about how he just came off. Except for that one bit, I wanted more of that. That it's not. Oh, it's so good. It was. Oh, there was some repetition. They eventually get locked in a school, and they're trying to run away from the person who did the bank robbery. The heisting is involved there. Not the actual person who did the bank robbery, but I'll leave it at that. And they end up running away from the main door while being shot at, hide in the classroom. Multiple things happen. They hide. The girl gets attacked. The kid comes in and saves the day. They run off. And it kind of happens again, pretty much in exactly that same scenario in a different classroom. And it literally ends with them at the front doors, running away, being shot at. It's like we've not progressed anywhere. Part of me really likes that, in that they're locked in. What are you going to do? This is your hell. But it felt like you could have really dropped one, and you didn't need both. But I digress on that. It makes sense considering the situation, but it really felt like it was back to back, which I think was probably the biggest problem about it. It was really repetitive in that sense. Oh, there was his dad too, the main kid's dad. The overall thing, it's a small town with the mill closing, and people hate him, and he's the son of that. It's like life is hard as a teenager, and this. So there is that aspect of it. Excuse me. But he's good. He's not in it much, but he does sell the role good. He reminds me of... oh, crap. I'll move on. I'll come back to who he reminds me of. It's... I want to say he's Irish. Oh, I can't remember what movie it was in, but Was it Kingsman? No. It's going to bug me now. But he reminded me of him, like this older kind of gruff, rawr. Not like roaring, but just that kind of mentality of the actor. It was really good. I liked him a lot. So there is that. Kid looked good, the main kid. He did look good and he kind of worked well, but there was times he just kind of was just walking along, shuffling, didn't know what to do with his hands. This felt out of it. Like, I don't know what to make of that. It was kind of awkward in that sense. Now, I can nitpick this thing all day long. It's a $100,000 movie made over an 8-year period, really shot over like a 28-day and then a pickup later, but that long to make the thing happen, which is important in its own right. There's things, ironically, that I learned in college that just kind of stood out. And right off the bat, there was something where they were in the car talking, Dad and the kid. And they're talking. It goes to an exterior shot. And you hear the ambient noise of inside the car, that kind of noise. We go outside and we see the car and it's a tracking shot along the car from above. Awesome aerial stuff in this. And the dialogue is continuing between them as we follow this car. But it's still got the sound of inside the car. It felt weird. We should be outside. It should be a different ambient noise to it. I felt it just seemed weird. Like it was jarring to hear the inside noise with the outside shot. And then we went back inside and it stayed the same. It continued. It just felt weird to me. Like, I don't need to explain any more than that. That kind of stuff, I don't know, I'm a stickler for that. I don't know. I'm really bad with my own audio editing. I'll freely admit that. But I do try to at least keep the audio the same if I bother with it. We'll get to that kind of thing in a bit here. There was also a lot of this establishing and showing off Thunder Bay, which was cool. At the same time, probably could have cut some of it. That's this personal stuff. Maybe this thing had to be 90 minutes. I don't know. Lee can probably fill in on that. I don't want to just bash this thing because it doesn't deserve it. Absolutely not. I wholeheartedly recommend seeing it. Like I said, I'll nitpick. But tell you what, I did the same thing to Batman vs. Superman. I did the same thing to Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. There's parts when I'm like, why that? That shouldn't have been there. No, I'll do it like this. This would have been better. It just happens to be that this is the one where a college professor, which is the school I went to, did it. Now, that said, this is pretty amazing that this has happened. I remember in 2000 going to college, getting ready, about to start, and going to see Gladiator in the theater. And sitting there, it's toward the end of its life cycle in theaters when this happens. And there's not many people in there. And I'm sitting there in the middle of the theater. I've not been to a theater this big, mind you, either. I'm used to like the 2 theater one back in Gravenhurst. And I'm looking at this and it comes up. And this opening epic battle of the arrows and everything. And I'm sitting there going, I'm in film program? What the hell am I doing here? But it was inspiring at the same time. And led me on the path to do what I want to do. Freddie Wong talks about all his art, his film school compatriots, talking about the awesome dramas and Tarantino's. And he's like, you see Transformers? That stuff was cool. I always felt like I'm more like that, where I want to make the action, I want to do the big bombastic stuff. And I was known as that guy in college. And here I am making wedding videos for a year and a half after college graduation and then paying the bills with call centers. And I've been with Superior Propane for 8 years now. And it's not a call center. It's actually a really great job. Don't get me wrong. But I would absolutely leave it for the right film job. There's no, unless I get like a film marketing job at Propane. Unless there's that, I mean, there's nothing, it would never top it. It could be the perfect job, what it is, but the right film one, I'd leave. And I've always wanted to do it. And that's what led me to doing the GPC. Guilty Pleasure Cinema saw me watching Nostalgia Critic and Video Game Nerd and Angry Joe and these guys and going, I can do that. Because I hear these people talk about how they have no training. And I'm like, I have training. I've been to film school. I get the concept of proper lighting and exposure. And like juxtaposition with editing and that stuff. I was an editor. I love that. I wanted to do that. Never moved back to Toronto though. I stayed here in Thunder Bay. Now, with what I've done since is I've made the GPC. I've made a bi-weekly, half-hour-ish, now it's about 15-20 minutes, show of me intercut with comedy with actual footage of the movies. But every now and then, I'll do skits. I'll do the Halloween stuff with the people at the door. I'll do frickin' Predator fight in my backyard. I'll do Abraham Lincoln. I'll do Thanos. That green screen was on this wall behind me as I fought all the different Scott stuff with the indicator and all of that. That was right here in this same room. The camera was basically pointed here, shooting all that. That's me telling stories, which I made myself do because I went for so long without doing it. I sacrificed a fair bit to not do it. I was in a relationship and that led things going where I didn't take some chances because I was simply trying to build up money to move to where I wanted to be. And that fell apart, and suddenly 5 years had gone by without me progressing anything. I don't regret that time, but it's still 5 years when you're graduated and suddenly you're 30 and going, yeah. So now here I am, 38 years old, staring down nothing. And I go to see this. And it's inspiring for two reasons. Because literally, a guy from Conn College, teacher, but still, professor from Conn College here in Thunder Bay, made a theatrical feature action. Fighting was a bit weak, but you do what you can. Could I do better? Probably not. I'll freely admit that. In theaters here. The only government funding he got was basically for marketing after the fact. And that's inspiring as all hell. And yet at the same time I sit there going, I can't do this. I think about the movie I have planned. How I kind of want to make it happen this summer and shoot it and get it available somehow. Be it YouTube rental or something. And he spent 8 years to make this thing happen. And I'm going to try to make something in like 6 months. Like to the end. And it won't look that good. They got the big camera from the college. They had some 60 alumni working on it, which bums me out. I never knew about it, but I've not been in the industry. I've not been doing music videos, not been editing in Toronto, not been doing any of that. And it hurts. It makes me realize what I've always known of having to do this my own way. That's what I knew in college. Ben Lougheed and I were talking about that then, saying we could do our own thing and just do it anyway. And he did that. He was doing that before college. He probably still is. I haven't actually seen him on Facebook in forever. It kind of bums me out. But I've been doing that for 4 years, making my own short films. I kind of have been building up a documentary for the better part of 4 years with Free Comic Book Day stuff as well. And I'm adamant I'm adamant I'm going to make this movie happen. I don't know how. It's more on the lines of a cinema snob movie where it's basically zero budget. Just take the camera equipment you have, take the people you have, and make the movie happen the way you can. Zero budget. Fair enough. He makes it work, and he makes money off of it. I have no audience. Really, it sucks. Since the blip thing a year ago, YouTube has been hard on views. Star Wars only made about 40 views in 2 weeks for episode 2 review. God, the Superman Returns review has done about 20 in 2 weeks. The Man of Steel one did about 40. Here I am trying to do more skit type stuff with these reviews, talking to Zod or interrogating Batman, which I got the footage for Batman, it's coming. And yet the views aren't there. So I'm putting my time and effort into something that's literally not getting any kind of reward outside of maybe 3 comments. And when I see 20 people see it, that's a decent percentage, but it's been 4 years. It should be a lot bigger by now. And the YouTube blip speed bump got in the way, but this has inspired me to absolutely make the movie happen. It's not related to GPC. I'll tell you that right now. It's its own entity that is just there. Now, I see Pineville Heist, and I'm inspired by it, and it's got flaws. All movies do. Except for Predator. It's perfect. But there's still stuff in it that's silly. And I see this, and I love the fact that it happened. And I love the fact that it did entertain me. And it's not so bad it's good. It's not perfect. Lee would tell you that. But it's got flaws. But like I said, I critique movies. I hate Eisenberg and Batman vs. Superman. Kid did better than him. Absolutely. I didn't want to turn the movie off because of him. So, I mean, is that fair comparison? No, I compared him to the worst thing ever. But for what he was doing, for what the situation was, what all is going on, it works. And I love the fact that it does. And I hope that Lee gets to do more. I hope it doesn't take him 8 years. I know he's going to make these things happen. Because he has. And when I look at the movie, I think, I could do that. Same thing I thought with Nostalgia Critic stuff. Same thing I thought with seeing action movies. With the right team and the budget, I could make these movies. I have the eye for it. Mom always said that. I have the right eye for things in the reviews and the timing of things and the editing. It's the editing that's key for it. It's the pacing that I've always been a stickler for. I've loved that since WWE stuff. And I love the fact that this movie actually has some really good editing. I do like that a lot. I don't recognize the name, and I'm going to be looking up all the crew. But I loved it. It really held firm in a lot of ways for me. That kept me interested more than anything, honestly. And I look at that, and I think, I could make that movie. Like the shot. Do I have access to the crane stuff or the drone or whatever he used for the aerial shots? No. Do I have the camera equipment? No. Do I have the cast caliber? No. Do I have the prop budget? No. Do I have the costume budget? No. He had American stuff, like American patch on the sheriff jacket, flags, New Jersey plates. I don't have any of that. He did pick up shots in Australia. I can't fly to Australia. I could, but I wouldn't even fly to Toronto for stuff, for parts of what I'm doing. So it's well beyond already what I have. He went to Cannes 8 years ago with the script and was told, you need Denzel, you need 30 million. I can't go to Cannes. I mean, I could, but God, no. So I look at this going, can I make this? I feel like yes. I mean, where would I be if I said no? Right? What's even the point? But could I make this? Do I have that tenacity? Do I have what Lee has to be able to pull this off? I don't know. I'm going to find out. I hope so. I intend to find out. And that makes this a must-watch for me. That makes this an awesome thing for me. I got more out of the movie than what the movie is, honestly. And this is rambly for all this time, but I hope you're all interested in the fact that the chain of events that led from one thing to another, I'm as inspired by this as Gladiator to make movies. If you've watched any of my GPC videos, which the archive is coming, I know, you know that. And I want to make these things happen. But that's an easy thing to say. I've always said that. I want to do this. I want to do this. I have a script journal with nothing in it ever made. That's got to change. And absolutely see the Pineville Heist. Because when it comes time for me to say, hey, check this movie out too, this is where it all started, more so. It's going to be playing June 2nd, 7 p.m. at the Yonge and Dundas Cineplex. Actually a smaller theater than the one here. But if it's enough demand, they'll put a second screening on. And then hopefully it goes from there with the others as well. It is 14A Canadian, so I don't know if that's an R. A lot of S words, but I don't think there's ever an F word, so I think we got a PG-13. Yeah, I recommend it wholeheartedly. I don't give out scores, by the way, so there's that. I could keep going on about how I intend to make a movie, but that's not for this video. That's its own. And I do hope to get that going, and I hope you all are enjoying this unique review on Hyperbole, because, yeah, Batman vs. Superman, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, the Pineville Heist. So yeah, absolutely check this one out. If you can, when you can, find a way. Do not pirate it. I will hunt you down. Support the movie. Actually pay to see it. Properly. Damn it. That's a whole nother rant too. But thank you for watching. Thanks for talking to me, Lee. It was awesome. When the movie was starting, I'm like, add a friend to Facebook. After the movie, hey, he added me to Facebook. So, who knows? I hope he's not too hateful of my critique. But it's what it is. And I guarantee everything I've said, he knows. He knows. He probably wants to tweak this thing 9 times from Sunday because that's how directors are. They never want to let go of it. Me, I'm like, as soon as it's done, get it up there. That's going to be a hard thing to get over. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for GPC 103 for the Batman movie. Which one? You'll see. And stay tuned for more about the actual movie. I just told you part of the title. Anyway, talk to you later. Thanks again, Lee. Great meeting you. Look forward to the next one. Pineville Heist 2. I got ideas. See ya.